Hi, this is Kal Penn, and you're watching BollywoodHungama.com.
The 30 years of Bhopal tragedy is coming up, and it's being seen as an opportune time for this movie to be releasing, because the closure is still remaining. The guy has still not, Warren Anderson has still not owned up his mistake. The compensation has been very, very less. It's like $300 per corpse. And somehow the accountability factor is completely missing. Do you feel that something concrete should be done so that people of Bhopal can finally feel redeemed in a way? Because, you know, it's a bad example for almost anyone in the country, in India as well, that anyone can do whatever they want to and get away with it.
Yeah, I don't think there's a person out there who doesn't hope that something actually gets done or wish that something had gotten done. I mean, obviously I'm not an expert on the tragedy aside from the things that we've researched to make the film, but everything from sort of what the company maybe swept under the rug over time, to what the Indian government swept under the rug over time, to you know, the people who are actually suffering because of that. I hope that with a movie like this, especially 30 years later, that it shines a light on the fact that there are still people being born today who are suffering from the consequences of what happened 30 years ago. But also, how do we prevent that in the future, right? We've got certainly a lot more globalization, a lot more industry, particularly in South Asia, East Asia, than we did 30 years ago. And can we incentivize checks and balances so that something like that doesn't happen in the future? Can we actually prevent, things like that from happening? And I hope so. I mean, everybody knows the ending to a movie like this, right? So what's compelling about watching the story is watching how it develops and where mistakes were made and what we can learn from. And so yeah, I hope certainly it starts, or at least continues or elevates a conversation that's been going on for 30 years.
Right. Do you think that there were political reasons for the movie not releasing earlier? Because Warren Anderson got a safe passage because of Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, who was the Prime Minister at that point of time, and it was the UPA government which was there in power at that point of time when the movie must have been made in 2009.
I don't think so. I think it was just a question of distribution, but that's a better question for our producers, because I was not as hands-on both before and after the shooting. I think since this was a relatively smaller budget film, you know, it takes a while for things to get cut together, for the post-production to kick in, and then to search for distribution. Are you sitting down with Ravi?
I will.
Because I'm actually curious to know the answer to that question.
If you look at it from common sense point of view or logical point of view, the political pressure could have been the reason, because the moment the regime has changed in India, within a span of 6 months, the movie is going to be releasing. The fact that the Indian Prime Minister actually provided a safe passage to a guy who had committed a very heinous crime, like 10,000, 12,000 people died just because of his spinelessness and carelessness. So somehow it's a huge blunder by any standards, and the history remembers this as a huge blunder, one of the huge blunders that he had done.
I would be curious to know if there's a correlation, and the reason I'm now particularly curious is I know with film distribution, particularly after post-production, there's sometimes more of a lag than there is with elections. I would guess that distribution for this was secured even before anything happened politically in India over the last couple of months. But now I love this kind of stuff, so I really want to know the answer to that question.
But I think the feelers were there that even before elections, almost six months before the elections, that there will be a regime change.
Yeah, but look, I think part of the root of even being able to ask a question like that is that I think people are aware of the fact that we collectively as a society don't ever want to see tragedies like this from happening. And so if we can call out, whether we're calling out politicians or whether we're calling out industry or aspects of corruption that exist everywhere, if we're focusing on them and focusing on them in this way, there is both a moral and financial imperative to make sure that disasters like this don't happen again. And I think you're getting to the root of that, which is what we're hoping the film can spark.
Absolutely.
It's a social thriller in that.
Hi, this is Faridoon Shahryar. For the most interesting celebrity interviews, do subscribe to Bollywood Hungama. Keep on watching.